Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to our final webinar of the season, I Wish I Knew. I'm your moderator, Hala Ali. Today's episode title is Transitioning from University to Post-University. As usual, please feel free to write your comments or questions in the Q&A section at the bottom. You'll see it at the bottom. After 12 plus years of schooling, you are now facing a new chapter in your life, and that is work. With us today, we have 5 wonderful, bright young people who joined the workforce pretty recently and have an array of experience to share with us on this topic. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome each one of them. Please introduce yourselves.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Tasira Al-Harrasi. I graduated from Modern College of Business and Science with a double major of Organizational Behavior and Marketing.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Fatma Al-Falahi. I graduated from Majan College with Business Administration.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Awatf Al-Habsi. I graduated from Georgetown University School of Foreign Service with a degree in International Economics.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Adil Al-Mandari. I am a graduate from SKU, Sultan Qaboos University.
Hello, everyone. My name is Saad Al-Mkhani, and I graduated from the Technological University Dublin with a major in law.
Thank you, everybody. And we welcome you and thank you for taking the time. All right, so I would like to ask our first question right now, and that is, now you graduated from university. I'm sure you felt this high and endorphins happening as you graduated. What were your expectations and plans right after graduation? Awatif, what do you think?
For me, I felt like there was a little bit of excitement, a little bit of worry. And it was really, I felt like I was going into the unknown, you know, because we had a couple of years of high school, which was a milestone, and then 4 or 5 years of university, which is another milestone. And then life after university, it's like you're going to create your own milestone. And so it was like everything until now has been slow pace. And after university, you will need to figure out everything. So I think the general idea was just to figure out the next step and path, no matter what it was.
Yeah, and it's a massive change. You're going from over 16 years of structure and achieving milestones, and now you're left to yourself to navigate this huge world.
Yeah.
So looking back, what would you have done differently?
I'd say I think worry less, definitely, because I was constantly worried trying to figure out the next step. But I am very proud of myself that I took a lot of preparations in order to prepare myself for the next step. So yeah, just worry less. That's it.
Okay. Then what about Saad? What do you think?
I think my family were more excited, with me graduating than I was. In an ideal world, I would have just packed my bags after uni and gallivanted around the globe, immersed myself in different cultures and languages. I used to think of myself as a socialist, so money wasn't really a priority. So looking back, I may have embarked on that. But as Awatif said, I would definitely worry less. I think we were all worrying by our final semesters on, starting to apply for jobs, working on your CVs and personal statements, making sure you're maintaining a high average with your grades and all that. So my aspirations were very different to reality.
Yeah, it would have been fun if you would have taken like a year off and all, but you did stay in England for a while before, in Ireland, before you came back to Oman.
Yes, that's true. I worked. I managed to secure a job during my finals, and I immediately started after I finished uni. I only took a week off to come visit my family in Oman, and then I joined a new company in work, which was great, which meant that I had the financial security of funding my lifestyle abroad.
Yeah. What about you, Fatma?
Just like Saad said, basically, I felt like my family were more excited with the fact that I was graduating. I felt a bit confused, overwhelmed with what positions I should apply for, so on and so forth. But I had expectations of being paid a certain amount, and it shouldn't be less than that amount to fulfill my needs, basically. And one of the main expectations that I had in mind is furthering my education. I remember when I went for an interview, that was one of the questions that I asked the interviewer. Would you support me furthering my education? Would the timing be flexible for me to further my education? Or would you even provide funding to finance basically the certification or qualification that is related to the degree that I've achieved, basically?
Yeah, and it's good that you went in there to the interview knowing what your priorities are, and that way you were able to discuss that with the recruiters and making sure that that was something that they could provide for you in the job.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
Yeah. What about you, Adil?
Well, thank you for that question first. To start off, what was my general expectation plans? Well, I would like to start with my expectation, and I just divided into three aspects, which is job, study, and skills. In terms of job, I thought that I won't have a challenging of having a good job in well-reputed company or organization, but the reality is quite different, yani. And I realized, okay, I need to adjust my expectation in that terms. And in terms of studying, I felt like after completing my 12 years and 4 years in the college, I felt, okay, that is time to let down the carry burden of continuous studying. But I realized that knowledge is something that you cannot stop it. It's something carry on with you until your end. So I realized that studying is something continuously. And in terms of skills, I thought that, okay, my skills were sufficient, but I didn't know that there are many skills that you need to acquire. Like you have presentation skills, public speaking skills, how to market yourself, branding yourself, that is a skills, and you will need it especially when you are being interviewed. So you need this kind of skills, which is soft skills. And you have like hard skills that you will need also, which is Excel, PowerPointing. And also I would like to mention writing and reporting skills. That is very important because you will just keep having this kind of reporting to your employer. So I thought that those like expectation wasn't in core of my personality. I wasn't thought that that was the reality that have changed my definition. So I just realized that. And also in terms of plan, I thought that things always goes as my plan. But I realized that no. Your plans might be changed. But what's good is that first you have to have an excellent plan. Planning is good, something good, but be flexible on your planning. So if you were planning and be ambitious or like being and working in one reputed or well-reputed organization, you can go ahead and plan it, but you must be flexible. It's fine to work with like SMEs companies. So that changed my expectation and also my planning.
Okay. So looking back, what you're telling our audience is just don't attend your core subjects, but rather spread your wings and try to diversify the classes, courses that you can take, and that will help you in the workforce in the future.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you guys have moved from being in university to being in the workforce, and that must have taken some kind of adjustment. How did you deal with the settling after graduation? Saad, could you help us with this?
Of course, yes. I think the transitional period from being a student with less responsibilities to becoming an unemployed graduate with a lot of pressure and expectations was certainly not easy. How I dealt with it was I dealt with the transitional period like it was a plague that I had to conquer or eradicate. So I was fortunate enough to have managed to land a job directly after uni. And with that job came responsibilities and so forth. So I think the transitional period for me was much easier when I was in Ireland than when it was in Oman. So when I came back to Oman, I was completely unemployed with very low job prospects. As we know, the unemployment rate was high. So what I did was I did not, stay in and Netflix and chill or binge watch programs. What I did was I went around, I inquired on the necessary steps required for me to register as a graduate. And that's what I did.
Yeah, and it's healthy for a young person not to sit idle,
Yeah.
but rather try to find a job and volunteer, like you said, and whether it's paid or unpaid, but and volunteering is a great way of finding a job.
Extremely. I mean, it gives you exposure. You get to make connections, and you learn. You do come out with something new, a new skill or a new information. So volunteering or aggressively marketing yourself for voluntary positions or low-paid jobs is the way to go.
Yes. What about you, Asila? How was it settling after graduation?
As for my case, it took me approximately 8 months to get a job that I'm in with. And it took about like 3 to 4 months until I started feeling the pressure. I mean, I started feeling the pressure, but before my family did. And like my family pressure was like the cherry on top of the cake, because they started questioning me. Why did it take me this long to find a job? Or why didn't I get an internship so far? So as a result, I was feeling a lot of stress, confusion. Confusion in terms of did I make the right decision in choosing my major? Am I applying for jobs the correct way? Is my CV like good enough? So, but alhamdulillah, luckily I was getting support from one of my family members on like how to prepare attractive CV that would help me to stand out, what the preparation that I need to do for like interviews, what are the questions that I will probably be asked. And the advice that he gave me, I just want to put it out for the graduates that are listening right now, is that because you're a fresh graduate and you don't have so much experience, focus on your soft skills. So focus on your like interpersonal skills. That would help you, because I feel like the companies are moving towards that, focusing on the interpersonal skills. So I just wanted to put that out for the graduates.
Yeah, and you mentioned a really good point, and that is make use of family members and friends who are in the field of recruitment. They can help you and give you tips and tricks, like you just said. make use of your interpersonal skills. Yeah. So yeah, these are good recommendations for our graduates who are listening in our audience right now. Adil, what about you? How did you deal with settling after graduation?
Yes, I would like to refer back to Asila, what she said, like fulfill your time. I really agree on that point, because what I believe that there's a two common thing among most of the job seeker, which are like free time. And what I mean by free time is a lot of free time, and also life goal, what you want to do after you are graduating. So I think those two components are very important for every job seeker and every graduate. How did I overcome that point? Well, as Saad said, volunteering, I really believe that volunteering is one of the key roles to success, especially for the job seeker. It gave me like a sense of direction. I knew what I need to do in one part of my life, especially in the spiritual life. And it highlights my strengths and weaknesses. I know where's my strength and where's my weaknesses. Where should I focus? Okay, I have like a communication, I need to improve it. I have this, so it gave me a good insight of my own self. And third point is blessing. I felt like there's a barakah, there's something like, something cannot be explained. It's a divine way that help you in your way. It just calm you. And that is very important for me, alhamdulillah. And fourth point, in terms of volunteering, I felt like because of my major, which is finance, I was handling auditing and finance. So that also improved in terms of my experience in this kind of field. Alhamdulillah, my family were supportive. They did push, but they did give me good supportive, alhamdulillah. And I would like to stress on one point, which is stress and confusion. I think most of the job seeker will kind of had this kind of emotion, which is the stress and confusion. That is because what I explained as my own experience, I felt like it's because of a lot of time and free time, and also the life goal. So as I have explained it previously, so it helped me to overcome this kind of issue.
Yeah, and you talk about stress and confusion that the fresh graduates might be facing as they transition from one life, which is the university life, to a working life. But what could help also is their social life. You said about your family, they were supportive of you. Some people also have friends that are supportive of them. You know, some others might have their university professors as well, could support them in some way as well. So social life right after university, did it change? Did it stay the same? Asila, could you tell us about your social life after university?
Oh, for me, it definitely changed. I mean, my social life got way better, and I was out and about with friends and family all the time. I felt like I had all the time in the world to do whatever I want, because I mean, in college life, you're so stressed about assignments, exams, you don't feel like going out much, you don't feel like interacting with people as much. But for me, maybe I had like a peaceful mind. I was going out so much because I didn't have to worry about assignments and exams on the next day. I was keen even to make new friends, because unlike college, I used to stick to the same friends circle. So yeah, I would say it got way better.
So you felt like a weight was lifted off of your shoulder, exactly. Right after, no more assignment, no more having to rush home and all.
Exactly, yeah.
And just enjoy family life. Yeah, that's true. What about you, Awatif? How was your social life after university?
Mine was completely the opposite. And in fact, when you said that, I was like a little shocked, because mine actually went downhill for a while. And I think after a month of graduation, I was very distant and not really catching up with friends, because I felt, again, like I felt the need to figure out my next step. It was only like after my job offer where I felt what you're talking about, Hela, this weight being lifted off, and then I can be more social again. And yeah, So mine was very, very different.
And looking back, what would you have done differently, Awatif?
Again, stress way, way less. I mean, I'm very grateful. I had like a good support system from my family, and but I don't know, for some reason I just felt I was just constantly worried, you know. And it was only until the first job offer that came in, and I was like, okay, I need to catch up with other people, you know. Sometimes the pressures that you put on yourself, that's really weigh you down than any other pressure from outside.
Yeah, and also Awatif, I know you studied abroad in Qatar, and so many of us who come back from abroad, we go through a reverse culture shock when we come back. You went from being an individual that does not answer to anyone and being back under your parents' roof where your every move is scrutinized and you have to get approval for just stepping out the house. And so, yeah, you went through a big transition there.
Yeah, it was very different because you're no longer living alone. You're living with people and your friends are no longer around you 24/7. I mean, you know, like it felt very different. I mean, you can't just go get coffee at 10 o'clock, you know, and it is a very different transition. And I think part of me being distant was for me like trying to cope up with this transition. And yeah, and I think when the first job offer came, I felt like, okay, everything's becoming reality. And so this is where I'm going to be settling in, and this is how this is where I'm going, my first step to the next milestone.
Yeah. You felt relaxed after that. Yeah. Saad, what about you? How was social life coming back from Ireland and being back in Oman?
I can totally relate to Awatif's experience. I think my social life disintegrated into the abyss when I came back. I had been away for so long that I had lost touch with most of my friends. Of course, we do keep in touch the odd times on social media, like wishing each other happy birthday and all that, or commenting on each other's pictures on Instagram, but it was limited to that. So I transitioned from being an extroverted individual into being an introverted individual, and I really liked it. It was extremely comfortable for me. I was able to gather my thoughts, work on my action plans on how to tackle the next step moving forward. And with that, I slowly built up a new social network. I revived old friendships and connections, and I made new ones. But it did take time. It was gradual.
Yeah. And when we come back, our mentality, the way we think is different as well. And so did you feel that, Saad?
Extremely, extremely. It got to a point where my family were like, but you were born here, you were raised here. Why is it so hard for you to understand or resonate with what's going on? I suppose when you've spent any amount of time abroad, you get exposed and you assimilate with the behavior and the culture of your surroundings. And being based in Western Europe for so long, I was accustomed to things moving faster, at a faster pace than they were here. And it was very difficult. In addition to that, the social norms were extremely difficult as well. So I remember walking into the Ministry of Manpower to register as a graduate, and I had completely forgotten that there were segregated waiting areas. So for a moment there, I froze because it was a complete shock to me to see women sitting on the left and men on the right. So it was things like that that I needed to take in, digest, accept, and remember that the bigger picture was to get myself registered and, you know, sort everything out so that I could commence on the next step, which was job hunting.
Yes, yes. job hunting. Now, when you talk about job hunting, when before you do the job hunting, you need to prepare for your applications. You need to prepare for the interviews and all that.
Yes.
I would like to start with Asila. What preparations did you take to apply for the jobs, and what was your job application experience like?
Well, my preparation for job application was, I think it's a bit simpler than what the like abroad students is that our college, usually when you graduate, because I think their system are like interconnected with the MOHE. So whenever you finish college, they send them like a notification on all your certificates get certified from their end. So all I had to do was gather my certificates and my documents, and from there I started formatting my CV. And I always go back or refer to people who had experience in recruiting department and asking them what are how can I like format my CV and make it more attractive, and or what are the companies look for in a CV or a candidate. So yeah, another thing that I used to do for preparation is that I started signing up for job application platforms such as LinkedIn, Indeed, and I really kept an eye on on the news for any job vacancies. Yeah, and I made sure to attend the career affair exhibitions. I remember our college used to do like a mini exhibition, but SQU was doing a lot of that exhibition, and I really made sure to attend the exhibition. And yeah, I mean, for the graduates who are listening right now, take advantage of the exhibition, because I literally I used to go to the exhibition with my friends, and literally one of my friends got interviewed in that exhibition. So take a good advantage of that.
Yeah, do get yourself noticed at every chance by the recruiters. Take advantage of these situations, such as the HR career fairs. And then this may work for some, but it might not work for others. Some would be recruited and noticed and land a job through the career fairs, but it's not the only way. There are other ways as well, but this is a great way to get yourself known out there as well. Thanks, Asila, for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Fatma, what about you? How was the job application process and the experience? How was it?
Fortunately for me, it didn't take that long for me to land a job. It took me around 2 to 3 months after I graduated. But within that time gap, what I did is that I made sure I didn't rely on just my GPA, because you need to basically enhance just like Adil said, basically, you need to enhance your soft skills. And how to do that? You need to gain confidence. And I remember applying for jobs that some of them I didn't have any interest in. I knew that if I had gone for that specific job, I would have probably rejected. But the reason why I did that is because I wanted to enhance my interviewing skills as well as gain confidence. This is a key. Confidence is the key. I remember going for an interview, I would start listening to the interviewer, look at the questions, listen to the questions, note down your weaknesses, turn them into strength, make sure that the mistakes that you've done in a previous interview do not repeat them on the next interview. Also, yeah, basically that was my job application, literally. Also within the gap, I made sure that I volunteered, I did promotion work, promotion jobs and internships as well. So yeah, fill that gap.
Excellent advice right there. Going to different interviews, even if that's not the job that you want, but it's a good way of getting some practice in, so that when you do go into your dream job, you're ready and prepared for that interview.
Exactly. That way you will learn the questions that they will ask you. One, you have to check whenever you get offered a job or offered a position or get called in for an interview, note down or observe, even search the company name, the company profile, like just the basic company profile. That would make a huge difference. Search for the job description and person specification. What do they require from you, and what the job requires you to do? Basically, you enhance your interviewing skills. I know it seems like a strange way to go into an interview that you might not accept, but this is literally one of the ways that I've enhanced my interviewing skills.
Great. Fatima, I just have a question for you. Don't you feel like
Yes.
your confidence has been raised up? You feel like you have more confidence when you enter to new interviews?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, looking back to when I first had my job interview, I was a nervous wreck. I didn't know what question, I didn't know what to expect, what the interviewer expected from me, the questions that was to be asked. So from there, like I said, basically all the weaknesses and all the mistakes I've done, I made sure I noted them down. Look for verbal cues as well. Look for non-verbal cues. The way the interviewer kind of looks at you and responds at you. That's what you need to note down, your weaknesses, and turn them into strength.
True.
So yeah, my confidence has been since then.
You bring in very important points, and I definitely agree with you in terms of the interview preparation for all the youth that are graduating. And I cannot stress this enough. Interview preparation is key. You know, the youth coming in, everyone's getting smarter, everyone's getting more brilliant, everyone has the GPA, everyone can get through that first phase. The second phase, where it's about interviewing and selling your skills, that's something that every youth that's graduating needs to prepare for. I mean, I was lucky enough that my university had workshops. So if your universities do have workshops, I would definitely recommend you guys attending. Like you attended different interviews to gain that skill. And so yes, it's so important for you to be able to sell the skills that you have and to show people, yes, this I'm different because of this and this. And it's okay to say that. You need to find stuff that makes you stand out from all the other brilliant youth graduating.
There's a point that Awataf highlighted, is the standing out point. So it's basically what gives you the competitive advantage. We're in a competitive market. So what gives you that edge that makes you stand out more than everyone else around you? So why would they hire you? Why should they hire you? So this is a very important point.
Excellent points, guys. All right, now I would like to remind our audience that you're more than welcome to put questions down at the icon where it says Q&A. So we will wait for a second here to see if anyone has any questions. At the same time, I wanted, oops, we lost Saad. All right, then. Okay, so while we're waiting for Saad to come back on here, I'll ask my next question, and that is, so getting a job right after university might take time for different reasons. Some of you, it might have taken 2 months, some a year. How did you deal with unemployment during that time that you waited? Awatif?
For me, I interned, and I did a lot of interviewing workshops. I tried to just keep myself on my feet all the time, keep myself busy all the time. I think that was my way of coping with unemployment, and I just didn't want to think about it. So, but I did have friends who chose to do nothing, and I had some friends who actually picked up a language. And that just shows you, I mean, there is no right or wrong. I mean, you don't want to be in the end of the spectrum where I was like constantly stressing, and then I had to pick up an internship in order to figure it out. And you don't want to be on the other side of that spectrum, which is just chilling, watching Netflix, not doing much. It's okay to find that balance where you're not stressing, but you're also taking it seriously, you know?
I totally agree with you, Awatif. I mean, unemployment can be a really difficult time for all the new graduates. But on the other hand, look at the good side. I mean, take a good time. It's a good time to focus on yourself, develop yourself, learn a new language, and do the things that you always wanted to do. I mean, for me, after I graduated, I had my first child, so I was really, I was very focused on my newborn. I tried to grasp every moment with him and enjoy every moment with him. But, and I started applying for jobs after like 4 to 5 months, but I started turning setbacks to comebacks, basically. I started asking my friends who went to interviews, how was your interviews? What are the questions you've been asked? What did you have noticed? And I mean, I got really good feedback from them. Yeah, and try not to lose your knowledge. Try always to keep yourself updated.
Yeah, and there are quite a number of ladies, Asila, that were in similar situations where they had just graduated and had a baby immediately right after. And mashallah, you and many others have chosen to join the workforce, and I commend you on it. It's not easy to juggle both working in corporate as well as having a family. And you're doing a good job and setting a great example, mashallah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Adil, what about you?
Well, I would say like they already highlight one of important point, which is occupying your time. So I just was occupying my time. So I just went to the volunteering. So almost most of my time was like in the volunteering. So it just took my time. It just consumed my mind, consumed my time. So I didn't felt the urge of finding a job, and I'm an unemployment person. No, I felt like, alhamdulillah, I have a volunteering time. It was the most related to my purpose. I felt like, okay, this is a connection, good connection. That's why I didn't felt that I am one of the victim of unemployment. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Saad, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. What are your comments on the question?
I think we can't, in my humble experience, I think a lot of people tend to build their expectations on their peers. I wouldn't advise any of the graduates to do that. I mean, we're all different, and I suppose the opportunities that come to us are all different. So I think students should work towards widening their horizons and opening up their opportunities, whichever way they may come, and never ever say no to any opportunity, no matter how small it may seem or look to you at first, because that could open up a door to a bigger opportunity. It could land you dream job, dream pay. I think criteria are different. Some mobility and aspire to work in the public sector. Others look for a job that's a bit more challenging, exciting, with a greater pay, and so they target the oil and gas industry. So we're all different.
Yeah, and So basically, there's no shame in doing a decent job, no matter what level it is. We have been taught and urged by our late HM, Allah yarhama, Tayyib Allah Thara, to do just that. And that is do any job that we can do, no matter what level it is. And we should always think about the country in general in terms of developing it and moving it forward.
Absolutely. Building a nation involves a bricklayer to a nurse to a CEO. So there's no discrimination in working. We shouldn't shy away from any opportunity. And at the end of the day, we all play an equal role in contributing to our society, contributing positively, I may add.
Yes. I see that we have questions from the audience. Let's see. So we have a question here. Would you go work abroad if you got the chance to? This is from someone called Rio. Anyone would like to take that question?
Can I take that question?
Yes, please, Fatima.
Honestly, I would encourage it. There's nothing wrong with working abroad. I'm all for, you know, if you get offered a position that's good enough, pays well, you know, makes you gain a certain amount of experience, certain amount of knowledge, then go for it. Why not? I mean, Allah wasi'a, you know, widen your horizon, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, Fatima.
That is interesting, but I think I have a different point of view. Yeah, I feel like for me, because if I'm more of like family oriented, I prefer to be close to my family. I would prefer to work locally and try my best to find a job. If I had I have the reason to go out, I will go for it. In terms of money or payoff, I won't consider it as a much important part of getting a job. I would like focusing, especially as a young, I was just focusing on getting experience. And then later on, I might think about of getting a better organization, a better payoff.
I think I agree with Fatma more on this than Adil. I think that when you go abroad or whether you stay local, there's different types of skills that you're going to attain. You know, there's so many brilliant people here, and there's so many brilliant people outside of the world. You know, so if somebody has an opportunity to attain one of those skills from these brilliant individuals living abroad, then yes, always like say yes to the opportunity, and why not? You know, then you can, you know, get back and use that skill. You know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if for me, if I lost hope in here, I would totally take advantage and like work abroad, even if I had to move my entire family there. But I would definitely take the opportunity. Yes. Because especially for me, I studied here in Amman.
Might I add?
Yeah, go ahead, Saad.
There's a delay in your voice, Saad.
Sorry, Asila. I think with the... Yes, I'm sorry. I can't blame myself. I blame it on the connection. I'd like to add to Fatma and Awatif's point. The environment and culture abroad is certainly different to the culture that we have, the working culture. They both have positives and negatives. So if the opportunity arises for a graduate to pursue a job abroad, even if it was for a year or to be seconded for a few months, jump on it, take it. Try your best to gain whatever useful skills you may attain from that opportunity, as well as represent your country, your culture, your people. You know, you set a good example. We're only 2.5 to 3 million Omanis globally. So when the opportunity does come up to go abroad, you become an ambassador to your country. You represent your country, its values. So I would definitely support it and encourage it.
Okay, I would like to ask you guys a question.
I'm sorry,
opportunity
Adil.
depends- Yeah.
Adil,
Yeah.
my apologies, Adil. I think Asila was trying to complete her point, but and then because of the internet, Saad cut in a little bit. So can we allow Asila to complete her point, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what Saad said. It's because I studied here locally throughout my studies. I mean, throughout the school, I studied the school, and like college life was here in Oman. So I would like to get something different because it might, I don't know, it might boost my personality, and somehow I will be exposed to different cultures. So yeah, I mean, it's a good opportunity.
Go ahead, Adil.
Okay. I really like your point of view. And what I meant by opportunity is like, what I feel like it's depending of your needs. What is your need? Is your need is money? Do you need experience? Do you need different kinds? So what is the package of that opportunity? So that is my question. If it was against your need, if you have an opportunity, but it's like related to, let's say, financially, and your need is more of experience, I would rather to cancel it and finding another opportunity that is available. I'm not sure if you got my point of view.
I understand your point of view, Adil, and I would like to add on it. Like, I completely agree with you. At the end of the day, home is home, and there are certain parameters that are involved within our culture, like the things that kind of goes not against, but almost in our culture. And I feel like if you tried, like Asila said, and you lost hope in your country, why wouldn't you accept that job? I agree that it's not about the money, but it's the general experience, not just the work experience. Get to know the culture, get to know people, get to know their heritage, and it's important. It's for self-development as well as career development, basically.
Yeah, it all goes down to the preference of your preference and what do you want to gain from that experience, or what do you want to gain from like working abroad.
You're completely right. I agree with both Fatma and Asila, but then there are certain skills that I think that you can't learn just by standing still. You know, you need to talk to people. You need to talk to people with different backgrounds, how they think, how they learn, and only then do you master the skill. You know, and for some people it's moving to different companies within Oman. To some people it's going abroad. You know, so if anybody has an opportunity to go abroad, I would advise them, yes, definitely go abroad, learn the skill, and bring it back to Oman so people can learn, you know?
Bringing it back, that's a great point. Bringing it back and enriching our culture, enriching our development of our country. Yeah. Now we have more questions. We have one question that's directed to Saad from Yusuf Al-Nafi. Having spent a lot of time in Europe, what's the difference in general in terms of work environment and culture? What's the positive aspects in working in both Europe and Oman?
Okay, I'll try and summarize the answer in a nutshell. I think there are far more opportunities to graduates in Europe than in Oman or in the Gulf, primarily because where I was based in Ireland, a lot of technological companies, American technological companies, were based there. And these technological companies, I'm talking about the giants like Google, Microsoft, Accenture, Facebook, require a multinational, multilingual team to function. So the job opportunities and prospects were much higher there than they were here. So in terms of opportunities, the door was open to an array of nationalities. The positives, in addition to that, is you get to appreciate and value the job more, because you've got taxes that we don't yet have here, thankfully. So you do really value the money that you're earning. You know, alhamdulillah, in Oman, we're blessed that we get a lot of incentives from the government. We get free healthcare, free education, whereas in Europe, you need to make allowances for that. So I'd say learning the value of the money, trying your level best to hold on to your job, consistently being on your toes, spending more time developing soft skills, attending events like networking events, Toastmasters. I know we have them here, but they're much more popular there. And networking. I think LinkedIn is far more effective there than it is here. So people can easily switch between jobs. They can learn from each other. So I'd say that's the difference. So the positives on that end, I'd say more found in Europe. In Oman, this is a very important point for women. I think women and men enjoy equal pay in Oman than they do in the West. So in the West, female colleagues earned 20% on average less than men. So you see, we don't get everything, but you know, you get some and you lose some. So I hope that covers and answers Yusuf's question.
Absolutely. Faiza Haddad is asking, was salary a major decision for you to decide what job you wanted?
Somewhat, yes, but not as my first job, because I really didn't set a high expectation on like terms of getting a high position in my first job, because I mean, I really set a humble expectation. So paycheck wasn't like a major thing, more than I wanted to get more experience than like a good paycheck.
I mean, for me personally, I mean, salary is important, but it wasn't everything, you know? I mean, it was a certain factor that I looked at, but it was not the only thing I looked at, you know? It was also what job experience do I expect myself to learn? What are the values of the companies? How do they treat their staff? All of that was also factored into before I made the decision to take the job or not.
I would like to agree with Awataf. Basically, for me, salary was a factor, but it wasn't a major decision to me rejecting or not taking a certain offer. And I did have expectations, but like Asila said, it was a humble expectation. It wasn't like a huge expectation. So my main concern was basically the fact that you're shifting from a graduate to a person who's basically working, a professional. So you need to learn the difference in the working culture, and you need to learn the way things go and the differences that would basically make from you becoming a graduate to a professional person. So you need to kind of absorb all that skills and knowledge. And for the next interview or for the next job or whenever you want to move to a next position, then maybe you set a certain expectation for your salary. So yeah, it wasn't a major factor to my decision.
So our next question is from Amal Al-Abbadi. What if my first interview experience is my dream job? Any tips on how to gain enough confidence to ace it?
Preparation is everything. Sit down, rehearse what you're going to say. I mean, the questions that they ask are very generic. No matter how, you can always try to figure out. I mean, of course, there'll be one or two, which is maybe more specific to the job, but you can always practice. And I cannot stress this enough. Practice what you're going to say, how you're going to say it, and and just also believe that what you're selling to them, like believe in your skills. You know, it's not like it's not like you're lying about it. You need to just be honest, be more confident, and hopefully you'll ace it.
And I would like to add what Awatif said. That is very interesting, and it was my brother my brother recommendation to me. He told me before getting to the interview, just relax, and things will go everything will go as smoothly as you want. So I really think this kind of tip is very interesting, which is get relaxed before you are getting to the interview, but get prepared also.
I mean, confidence, yes, it's the main thing, but look at it as a friendly conversation. They only there to get to know you, not like an investigative, because that's what makes most of us nervous, because we think that it's an investigative rather than just a friendly talk conversation of them getting to know us. So yeah.
Just like what Adil said, I would like to add on that one. Basically, I completely agree with Adil. Breathe, relax, and make sure that you're prepared. Like I said, learn about the company, learn about the job description, what is required of you, and yeah, believe in your skills and knowledge.
Yeah, breathe,
more
relax is a
importantly,
great advice, as well as be yourself, really. Adil, you were saying something.
No, it was sad.
Oh, sad.
More Emma, everyone out. Body language is important. Don't slouch like me today. You know, people a lot of times when candidates walk into interviews, the interviewers look into their body language. If you're relaxed and accepting of this interview, then it really shows with your posture. So that's also very important.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to act. If you don't feel that confident, you just act as you are confident.
True.
Yeah.
I think body language is very important, as Saad said.
True.
Yeah.
So Noor is asking, when should one start applying for jobs or internships?
That's an interesting question. I started applying for jobs even before I graduated. I think my last semester of college or university. So yeah.
Same, me too. Last semester of college, you need to start applying. Whether you have they'll always require you to have the Mu'adila, which is your degree. You just apply, and then you deal with that later. You know,
Exactly.
apply, and because it takes so long for them to get back to you, that by the time they get back to you, would have already had what they're asking for. So definitely apply before you graduate, at least a semester. I did, and Fatma did.
I would say the same. I mean, I started applying like 5 months after I graduated, but if I was in a different circumstances, I would start applying in my last semester or in my last year.
Yeah, indeed, apply early. And I had applied a semester before I graduated, started applying, and actually went for interviews a semester before, which helped my employer, or my potential employer at that time, to tell me what else they wanted me to gain before I finished that final semester. And I was able to squeeze in one more course that they wanted me to do before I came back. Yeah. One more question from Amira Al-Mandari, and then we will move on. She says, I enjoyed listening to this discussion. I have been working now for more than 10 years. I can see, based on my experience, that graduates have the talent and the ability to shine in the market. However, with the current situation, have you thought of starting a business? Who would like to take that question?
I would like to take that question. Thank you for your feedback, Amir Al-Mandari. That is very interesting. What I feel like for the fresh graduate and also for the job seeker, I have discussed this with certain people, and they recommended that as a fresh graduate, you need to get the experience of how to deal with the people, how to deal with your colleagues, how to deal with your employers. So those kind of experience will build you and will get you to know how to control and how to organize your company or your business. It's fine to get into the business, but at some certain business, you will need some kind of skills to communicate with your employees. So I believe that it's a good opportunity for someone who can and have the capability and who is, I will call them outliers. But for some segment of the job seeker, I feel like they need to get the experience, the environment of the working place, and then after that, they might feel to go into the business.
It doesn't work for all. It works for some and not everyone. Saad, you tried to do a little bit of private work on the side while you were waiting for a job opportunity, correct?
Yes, that's correct. But I started on a minuscule level. So what I did was I approached SMEs in Oman. Then, consultation work. I offered to do compliance for them, review policies and procedures, and I partnered up with a financial analyst who would do a financial forecast for them. So we tried it on a very smaller scale, and to be honest, it was probably one of the best things we ever did. We got to learn so much about the existing SME market. We also got to make connections, new connections, and we learned a lot about gave us funding. We mostly did not charge them. We would charge them the minimum rate for whatever work we were producing. And our primary goal was just to give them some form of responsibility that they weren't getting everything for free.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes, Can I just mention one thing? And
Go
I feel
ahead.
it's very important for those who are not graduate yet. There is one wonderful initiative which is called Injaz, and most of the students, they know about it. It's giving the experience of having a real businessman in a real business in real world. So this is a great opportunity for those who are seeking to have that kind of atmosphere of being a businessman or businesswoman. So it's a very interesting initiative.
I'm going to move on now and go to our last two questions that we have for the webinar. And that is, all of you have wonderful jobs right now that you're working in. Could you tell our audience about the work that you're doing right now? Awatif, could we start with you, please?
For me, I think one word to describe my work environment is challenging, and I'm very grateful for that. And I always say this to anybody who knows me, is that I think I'm very lucky and happy to go to work with and be surrounded by brilliant individuals that are so passionate about what they do. From my bosses to my colleagues, I mean, I learn something new every day, and I do see myself becoming a better economist in the environment. It definitely exceeded my expectations. I did not expect to be learning so much in such a short period of time. I mean, I recently hit my 2-year anniversary, and I was reflecting, and I was like, wow, I learned so much, but yet I have so much to learn. And it's very different to the school environment, the university environment, where you just have to ace something for that semester and then you're good. But in the work environment, you have to, the learning process is much longer. For you to pick up the skill, it will take you a year or two. It's no longer like one semester and then you're done. So I'm just, definitely challenging, and I'm definitely learning and becoming a better economist every day.
Yeah. Mabruk on completing 2 years work experience with your current position. And I'm glad, you know, not everyone lands a job where they're happy and learning and thriving every day. So well done on landing that job. Saad, what about you? Tell us about your job.
So I'm a legal researcher within the public sector. That's equivalent to a legal associate in any law firm. I primarily work with policies, procedures, codes of governance. I work with contracts, various contracts. So we cover tenancy contracts, we cover artistic contracts, and so forth. I thoroughly enjoy my job. It's exciting. Primarily because you learn as you go. I mean, I think Awatif mentioned this, but I can't stress how much you do learn as you go. And for those of you who are looking to start careers, there's no harm in making mistakes at work. You know, you don't get reprimanded like you would at uni. So it's not fixed. So in uni, if you do badly, unfortunately, that grade sticks. You admit, if you raise your hand and say, I'm really sorry I made this mistake, 9 out of 10 times they can be very considerate that you're with. So be effective at work. It's very important. Set goals. Even if you don't have KPIs in your workplace, set them for yourself. You know, try to meet your deadline, request for an extension ahead of time. It just shows your employer or your direct supervisor how responsible you are.
I work in a company, I work in a venture capital company called Phase Ventures, and the company exceeded my expectation in terms of like the overall environment, because I mean, our company has flexible, fun, and youthful environment, which I think all goes down to how understanding the managers are and how youthful they are. I mean, we're all youth. No one is above 33 years. I mean, the CEO himself is so young, and it gives me so much motivation to see how they're passionate about their work. The workplace, our office is such an open offices. It's an open offices, so you get to hear their experiences. You get to hear everyone's experiences in the entire company. So yeah, I did not expect to be working in this environment.
It's so important to work in a healthy environment where you're happy at. So it sounds to me as if it's like a Google Oman type of environment.
Yes, I mean,
with all young people, millennials.
Exactly. They always try to mix work with fun and not letting you feel the pressure of like coming in on time. They're not trying to micromanage you. I mean, it's such a good environment to work in.
You're going to have a lot of our audience trying to apply for jobs at your company now, Asila. Yeah, that's a good thing, which says a lot about the company when an employee is happy and talks about how the environment is great. You can thrive in that environment. You can do well and develop. Yeah. What about the rest? What about the rest of you guys?
Can relate it to that. I felt like even my team, they are more flexible team. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And I felt like they are helping me to reach my best outcome. So it's a win-win situation for me and also for them. So I'm really thankful for having such a group. The only challenge that I had that it was regarding my major. My major is finance, so I felt like this is related to accounting. So I had to go more deep in accounting, so to understand what I'm doing, because my work is in accounting. So this can give you an advice that sometimes you will get a job that is not related directly to your majors. That's something else, but you need to work on yourself. And that's why I get involved in one of the certificates to at least to enhance my knowledge of knowing how to do the proper accounting. And alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, everything went well. So that is in terms of challenging, alhamdulillah. Did it meet my expectation? Yes, as a graduate, it did. And alhamdulillah, I understand. But I am looking forward for more challenge, as I think most of the job seeker and also who had a job. Yeah.
Yes, for me, basically it's the same. I work as an internal auditor in a professional services firm or an auditing firm. And I've been there for like a year and a half. And so far it has been such a roller coaster. There were times where I would be really stressed, and there would be times that I would just love the challenge and just absorb it all. And looking back to how I started, I noticed that I've actually become more and more independent in terms of not needing supervision from my seniors, so on and so forth. So almost similar to Saad, my job as an internal auditor does require me to look at the policies and procedures, compliances, governance, make sure that their practices are compliant with the law, Armani law in general, as well as the policies and procedure of a certain company or department. So it's pretty much enjoyable. I love the fact that they don't micromanage me. I spend most of my time at a coffee shop, and they don't require me to punch in and punch out. So yeah, it's pretty enjoyable.
MashaAllah, you all sound like you're thriving in your work environment and you're doing very well. You're all going to be the future of Oman in your different sectors. And I commend you on all the brilliant work that you guys are doing. Now, to move on to our last question, and that is, so we talk a lot about the career and your jobs and all, but what about work-life balance? How is it, how's your life outside of the workplace?
Well, that is very interesting. I would like to go first with this question. Being a football player, I think that is one of my key way of getting relaxed. It get me like revived and recharged myself. And also I get like time to socialize with my friends. So being a player, that is a good way. So I think like you have to get a hobby. Anyone who is like job seeker, graduate, or who already found a job, you need to get a hobby. Also reading, I like to read. So it just it enrich me in different ways. Also, I would like to mention something, and I really recommend everyone to try it at least, which is Toastmaster. Toastmaster helped me really well in public speaking. It helped me to get the confidence. Speaking and standing out in front of the audience is something is not easy for everyone, but once you get on the stage, you feel the confidence. You feel that, okay, if someone else can do, why I can't? So it gave you that confidence, and it really helped me in terms of how do I communicate with others? How do I present my ideas? So it helped me, alhamdulillah, and it's personality builder. So I can just say it's a personality builder.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and last point is volunteering. It's just keep repeating because it became part of my life. So I think it's alhamdulillah, and it's something good, I feel.
Volunteering is good, Adil, and you keep saying it. It's a good way of paying it forward to the community, for yourself as well. It's great, like you said, blessings for yourself as well. What about you, Awatif? How is life outside of work?
For me, I feel like I have yet to figure out like work-life balance, but I will say I've gotten like much better. In some weekends I spend time with my family or my friends, but then some weekends I went hiking. And recently I experienced mountain climbing. And of course, some weekends I give myself the luxury of doing nothing, which is rare, but it's great. It's my favorite weekends.
Yeah, we owe it to ourselves sometimes to just do nothing, and it's more than enough. You know, you need that downtime, you need that reflection time, and it's important for growth.
Yeah.
What about you, Fatma?
I spend my weekend sometimes, like Awataf said, to myself, basically. I do enjoy going to wadis and hiking. So I've been to Wadi Mibam, and I've got this checklist that I would like to basically go to all the wadis in Oman. So far, I've been to 3 wadis, Mibam, Hawar, and Wadi Thabin. So yeah, I enjoy going hiking and stuff like that.
And mashallah, يعني, alhamdulillah, the slogan of Oman, beauty has an address, is so true. We have so many beautiful places that we can hike to, like the wadis, and it's great that you have a bucket list that you're checking off all the wadis that you want to visit. And that's a good way to connect with nature and relax and forget about work for just the weekend. And that recharges a person, and you go back and you're able to do a better job than the week after. Yeah. Asila.
Yeah, unlike the others, I'm very family-oriented person since I have my own little family right now. So once I'm outside the work, I'm unplugged. I try to focus or give my attention all to my family. But yeah, sometimes I just enjoy the me time, sitting and not doing anything. But it's very important to find that life balance work and give time to yourself.
Yes, you said an important point, and that's unplugging. With this fast pace of life, it's really difficult for us to unplug. Our WhatsApp messages are constantly beeping, emails are coming in constantly. So you do give a great advice to our audience, our fresh graduates, that just unplug. You need it. You need to just have downtime and focus on your family, your friends, and yourself, most importantly.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, what an exhilarating session today. You all had wonderful experiences to share with all our audience, and I'm sure the audience are very grateful and appreciative in hearing all your valuable views. You have a great future ahead of you, all 5 of you, and I'm looking forward. And I'm certain that you will make a difference in our country and our society as a whole. Wish you all the best in your careers. Thank you for being here today with us and sharing your time with our audience. Thank you to my team who are working in the background, Sara Al-Ma'wali, Istabraq Al-Riyami, for doing a great job with this webinar and all the previous webinars that we've had. Please don't forget to follow us on the social media platforms, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, as well as YouTube under the name Limitless Oman. We have a feedback form that will be sent to you shortly. So please do fill it out. Give us your feedback.